Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell!
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell!
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell. He said, ring that bell.
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly.
In the show, Patty's got a beef bet, and of course, all our hot cakes to start at each and every hour over the next 3 hours. Pat, first of all, good morning.
Morning, Shawnee. This is, by the way, Sexy Six. I like that. I don't know if I've ever heard Sexy Six.
You know, Pat, one thing I've always thought, and I've kind of cheesily done this, especially when my personal favorite teams are involved, my fandom teams, is I'm a big fan of having your team get to the point at the end of whether it's a conference final, an ALCS, NLCS, and knowing that the opposite half has already been punched. And I could say, hey, we're one of the last 3 teams standing. We're one of the last 5 teams standing. So I look at the 4 teams left. You're one of the last 6 teams standing. Doesn't matter. You're in the Elite 8. You're one of the last 6 teams standing. So I put a little name on it. How about that? And
I like it. Well, you're nothing.
You get the benefit of playing a day later, basically.
You're always thinking outside the box. So yeah, we're going to talk about those 2 games. Recap the 2 games yesterday. A lot of dude. That Yankee game yesterday. I mean, they basically came 1 home run shy of breaking the Major League Baseball record. So we got balls flying. We got taters being totted. That's right. We've got a big weekend, a big Sunday ahead. So I'm ready to jump into it, brother.
It, baby. Let's go. Balls flying outside the box. Let's go. What do you got? Oh, wait, we got to start.
Grab your morning coffee. It's time for Hot Cakes and Hot Takes from Sean Marash and Pat Boyle on the BetMGM Network.
All right, Pat. Let's start off with today's slate in the Elite 8. And I know Nick Costos, our king of Wagertainment here on You Better You Bet, on the afternoon show Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. And of course, that final hour you could watch on Peacock as well. he's been all over the fact that he parlayed all number 1 seeds to get to the Final Four, which, newsflash, as every year that goes by in the NIL era, I think we're going to get closer and closer to that becoming the norm and tournaments becoming a little more chalky. But put that aside, put that in your pocket, put the feather in the cap for another day. I think Nicky's got a big loss ahead of him today. A big, old, fat loss. Because at plus 130, Pat, at plus 130, give me the Tennessee Vols today to win outright versus Houston. This has been a different Rick Barnes team. You know, Rick Barnes obviously labeled for all his years in Texas. Then, of course, in Tennessee, that number 1 team that he had in, 2019 in Tennessee that only reached the Sweet 16. Choke artist team. We had talked about this a month ago when we were starting to dabble in March Madness, that this Tennessee team felt different. And they got aligned at the perfect time in the perfect bracket versus the perfect 1 seed to upend chalk today. What is the one thing that could be a Houston kryptonite in Kelvin Sampson's teams here? A team that plays just like them, slows it up defensively. And in that kind of spot, Pat, today, we have 2 teams, and Tennessee has really ratcheted up their defense in this tournament and in the SEC tournament. When you have 2 teams that play a similar style of defense, I'm always going to take the team that also shoots better. So to me, even if Houston's defense is a tick better than Tennessee's, and that's their whole model, Tennessee from the outside, Tennessee being able to hang in there, I think just Tennessee's shot making and shot selection, they are going to win this game outright at plus 130. Now, here's the problem. Don't look at that 2.5, 3.5 point spread that keeps swinging back and forth a point today and go, man, this feels like they're begging me to take the 1 seed Houston. That's all they're laying here. Remember, it is the Sexy Six. It is the Elite Eight. The public money right now, if you go to BetMGM and we get the little rundowns as we have, is very much on Tennessee plus those points today, Pat. But I'm still riding with the public here, and I'm riding with Tennessee now plus 125 on the money line to win outright versus Houston and stop the feel of all 4 number 1 seeds getting to the Final Four.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on this game. I'll have a bet later in the show, but I'm kind of aligning with you here. 2 teams that both are some of the best in the country defensively. Houston, arguably the best defensive team in the country. But I think when you match these teams up with one another, I think, like you said, you feel like Houston kind of feels like a sucker bet, and yet Tennessee is getting the majority of the tickets. So people are aligning with you and I and how we feel about this game. And I think a lot of it just comes down to realizing how dominant the SEC has been this year, and that Tennessee went 12-6 in that conference and has some big-time wins this year. The last time they lost was to Florida, who entered the tournament as the hottest team in the country. They shut down Kentucky from start to finish. It was never really a contest against UCLA. So, I mean, I can make the argument that they've got just as good of a defense as Houston, despite Houston, putting up a little bit better efficiency numbers. But like in terms of the shooting, both of these teams have like the exact same field goal percentage on the year, very similar in rebounding, very similar in points per game. They just barely lost, and they win these rock fights. They're accustomed to these rock fights. But I think Tennessee is a team that can play Houston's game, like you said, that 2 teams that are great defensively, and they can win this game. It is a small margin. It's only 2.5, 3, depending on where the number closes. But this feels like a game that comes down to the last few minutes here. And I think just recency bias tells you Tennessee has blown out basically all 3 teams they've faced so far. Houston had a big lead against Gonzaga and then let it get close. And then Houston also had a big lead against Purdue, and then they needed a game winner from Milos Ujan to win it at basically near the buzzer. So Houston a little shaky, closing teams out down the stretch. I think that gives you hope that even if they're in front, that Tennessee can make a comeback in this game because they shoot the 3 ball pretty well, 35% on the year. But yeah, I mean, this is if you like the rock fights, this is like quintessential rock fight here today. That's not taken away from the talent. Both these teams have shot makers, and Houston is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. It just comes down to, this is going to be who can hit the bigger shots down the stretch. LJ Cryer, the star for Houston. Zakai Ziegler and Chaz Lanier, the stars for Tennessee. Which guys show up in the final 5 minutes? Because it feels like that's where this game is headed, right?
Yeah. Now Pat will volunteer his official pick at the top of next hour.
That's a good one, Shawnee. There you go.
What do you got?
You're nothing if not consistent with the puns. So I've got a couple of hot takes here, if you will. I mean, I don't think they're that hot. I think they're pretty realistic.
Spit them out.
I think they're
Spit them out.
I think they're pretty. Yeah, I think they're pretty non-hot take. I think they're pretty spot on. But that's the name of the segment. So let's just start now with the team that played yesterday and the Duke Blue Devils. And I mean, look, they're the best team in the country. It's not even close. I'm not going to tell you that Duke's going to win the national championship. I don't even know what would even be the odds right now on the futures market for Duke to win the tournament. We're probably getting close to having to lay juice on Duke to win, considering they've already punched their ticket to the Final Four. We don't know their opponent yet. That's going to be today. They'll get the winner of Tennessee and Houston. But neither of those teams are going to stand a chance against Duke, right? Because they played Alabama yesterday, a team that fastest pace in the country. A lot of people think, all right, Mark Sears and Bama, if they can hit some shots, like this is a team that matches up well with Duke. Arizona played them tough, and Duke just absolutely ran them out of the building in the final 10 minutes of the game. And I think you realize just how underrated Duke's defense is yesterday, how great of a defensive player Cooper Flagg is. Come on, Malowacz, altering almost every single shot that Alabama took inside the paint when he's on the floor. And also Knipple, best name in college basketball, Knipple, like great on-ball defender. Like they're just so solid defensively. They took an Alabama team that was basically averaging 90 points per game and totally shut them down. Alabama was hopeless. It was like the boa constrictor just wringing the life out of their opponent. That's what that entire second half was. Duke said, all right, we'll push the pace with you in the first half. Put up 46 points. Cooper Flagg's hitting shots. Didn't hit a lot. He didn't score a lot, but Tyrese Proctor has been unbelievable from three all tournament. Knipple getting to the rim and then teams having to double team him, and he drops it off to a wide open teammate to dunk it home, or he just takes it to the rim and scores. Like Cooper Flagg's going number 1 overall. Knipple's probably going top 15 in the NBA draft. Malowacz is probably going to go late first, early second round. And then like they've got guys coming off the bench, Isaiah Evans, who's like, that's going to be another second round draft pick. This team is loaded. So not only are they going to win the national championship, Sean, Duke is going to win their Final Four game and the national championship by double digits. Whatever the spread is, I'm taking Duke to cover. I know Arizona covered against them. That was 9.5, and they kept it within that. But I think you're going to get a smaller spread. If it's Tennessee or Houston, Duke will probably be 5.5 or 6, and I'm taking them. And in the national championship, I think the closest spread we would see is if it's Duke Auburn or Duke Florida. That's probably within a 5-point spread, and I'm hammering Duke the rest of the way. I'm blindly betting the Blue Devils to cover the Final Four and the championship game. I don't think it's going to be relatively close. They're that much better than everybody else.
Even money, thanks Dan Turner, even money for Duke to win the tournament. Pat, I think the simplest way to put this for anybody tuning in this morning and thinking about how to bet the Final Four, even the rest of these Elite 8 games and going to the national championship is this. Before you place a bet against Duke, knowing everything you know about the regular season, even if you've just jumped in here into the ACC run and, of course, March Madness, just ask yourself this. Why are you not betting Duke? And if the answer is simply value, because I think a lot of people would say that, right? The value is not there. I'd like to bet the underdog. It's March Madness. I'm, plus 200 on an underdog to win money line, whatever it may be. The value. Nick Costos, who now is already getting 2 mentions in the top of the hour, has always been very big on this, and it's true. Geez, Nick, hope you're up with us on a Sunday morning. And that is, the best value is actually just flat out making sure you win and put profits in your pocket. And don't worry that if the money that you're betting you're getting less on or return back, you're still profiting. If your answer is just you like the value of other teams, there's a reason that you're getting rare value. By the way, I take the even money on Duke to win the tournament now that they're already in the Final Four. I actually don't even think that's bad value. But don't use value as an excuse to bet against the obvious. Yeah, that's great. When you get that once in a while absolute thrill that you properly predicted an underdog and get an insane return on your investment, who doesn't love that thrill of gambling, Pat? We all have been there. We all love it. Seems to happen, I think, a little more often in the early rounds of the tournament / in football season than it would in this spot. This tournament has been chalk. This college basketball season has been chalk. Don't sit there and be a slave to value when it comes time to bet any one of these Duke games in the Final Four of the national championship going forward. They have been the best team. They have the best player. This I'm going to call them a franchise now because of NIL. Duke hasn't seemingly lost a beat here with John Shire now absolutely, nailing the number one recruit that he could have nailed over the last 3 years since he took over for Coach K and Cooper Flagg. This Duke team is an absolute tear, and I'm with you on the double-digit stuff. It's just ho-hum, all about their business. Hi-ho, off to work they go.
Yeah, so we can get more into that. By the way, how about that? Thanks, Dan Turner. Plus 100. That is, I think that's value because they're going to be favored in every single game. They're not going to be an underdog against Houston or Tennessee. They're not going to be an underdog against Florida. They're not going to be an underdog against Auburn. I'm telling you, they're going to be favored in every game they play the rest of this. In the two games they play in this tournament.
It's just a Duke parlay. It's parlaying them to win. You know what I mean? That's where you're getting even money still right now. But obviously, it's only going to drop with 2 games left.
Yeah, so I got one more quick take, and we can get into this game in detail because it is coming up later today, Auburn, Michigan State. But, I talk about, I think, how great I think Cooper Flagg is, and he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, and he should win the Wooden Award, right? I mean, I guess there's still a chance that Janai Broome could win it, but I think all likelihood it's Cooper Flagg that wins the Wooden Award. I've been surprised before, but when we look at NBA futures and we look at how these guys' games will translate to the next level, I think Janai Broome is talentless when it comes to the NBA. I think he has no future as an NBA player. And again, I've watched a lot of Auburn games throughout the year, and he looked great during the regular season. Even when he was shooting the 3-ball relatively well, again, he would just back down a guy, hook shot, turnaround jump shot. He had everything in the arsenal. He's a good passer. But now that we've gotten into the NCAA tournament and even in the SEC tournament, he didn't play that well. Janai Broome, for me, is like a tipping merchant. Again, he got big-time numbers last game, 22 points, 16 rebounds against Michigan. And yet he turned the ball over 5 times. He went 9 for 21. Most of his points came on just little putbacks that I thought Michigan was going to corral because they've got the 2 7-footers, Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden. And yet they couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop Tippins, and that's the only way that he's going to beat teams. I've been very disappointed with Janai Broome so far in terms of I think he's very overrated, to say the least.
We'll tackle Auburn and Michigan State, plus look back at an epic collapse by Texas Tech yesterday. It's the BetMGM Network Sundays Bets with Sean Morash and Pat Boyle. We continue on next.
Winners, locks, and long shots. Sean Morash and Pat Boyle have your Sunday slate covered. It's Sundays Bets on the BetMGM Network. Get your bets in and your bankroll up. This is Sunday's Bets with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle, only on the BetMGM Network.
Boyle. Silly me. Duke and Florida are in the Final Four. And, of course, today we get Tennessee and Houston. And, of course, Michigan State and Auburn. So we touched on Tennessee and Houston a little bit in the open there, Pat. And I know we're going to revisit it at the top of the next hour. But the other game today, of course, there's December, there's January, there's February, there's Izzo. Michigan State plus 180 today versus a heavily favored, as you were just touching on, Janai Broome, Auburn-led team at minus 220, a total of 147.5 the play there. So, look, I started this show with the idea of I think that not all one seeds are getting there. And maybe I'm grasping at straws here, but I truthfully believe that Tennessee is going to take down Houston. I did not include the Auburn-Michigan State game in that because I got to be honest. My feel is Auburn's going to take care of business here. I've had an Auburn-Duke national championship game since the beginning of the tournament. But I would be remiss if I didn't say I don't feel extremely, totally comfortable laying points here with Auburn in this spot. I do kind of think a well-coached Michigan State team can give them hell. But you had just talked about Janai Broome not being an NBA prospect in your mind, obviously having some of these lapses he's had at times. But Auburn just pillar to post all season being as good and as dominant as they've been. Where do you stand on this Michigan State-Auburn game today?
Yeah, so I'm going to have an official play on the total coming up at the top of the hour, but we get into this game and, it's everything on paper would tell you to take Auburn, right? They've got the size advantage. They've got the talent advantage. They've got a great defensive team, and yet they can shoot the three. Michigan State has been brutal shooting the three all year long, but they get to the free throw line. They force turnovers. We've seen teams give Auburn some trouble here just in the last couple of games. Creighton led the first half because Auburn was a little sloppy shooting the basketball. Michigan gave them trouble all the way up until the final 12 minutes because Michigan took care of the basketball and they were getting to the free throw line, and then all of a sudden Auburn just got hot and that talent took over. I don't know if the talent can just take over here again against a team that is so well coached. It's Tom Izzo. I mean, he's a legendary coach. Nothing about his aura has worn off whatsoever. I mean, because this team does not have a bevy of NBA prospects. They've got Chase Richardson, who's just a freshman, and that kid, if he stays and doesn't declare for the NBA draft, he is going to win the Wooden Award next year. Chase Richardson, it's not even going to be a contest. He's that good. I feel like he is the best player on the floor, and he maybe just doesn't realize it yet. He's phenomenal. He has to have a big game today for Michigan State to have, I wouldn't say a chance, but for them to win this game, Chase Richardson has to do well. But Michigan State's going to take care of the basketball. They're probably going to win the turnover battle. They're probably going to win the free throw battle. Depending on, I know we hate to say this, but depending on how the refs officiate this game, I think is going to be a big factor in not only how many points get scored, but also if Michigan State could keep this close. But it just feels like every time Auburn has been tested so far in this tournament by Creighton, by Michigan, it's a different guy that steps up for them. It's Denver Jones, hitting some big shots. It's Tahad Pettiford, a freshman who dropped, he had 25 in that game against Creighton? He is phenomenal. That's a guy that just is a dog, plays with swag, comes off the bench. Chad Baker-Mazara, who is, their pit bull that, it feels like he's one altercation away from getting ejected out of a game. It feels like I've seen him get 15 technicals this year. But, top to bottom, Auburn's more talented. But Michigan State has the coaching advantage, and that is no slight to Bruce Pearl. I love Bruce Pearl. But Izzo has proven time and time again he can get it done with the lesser talented teams. But who's a guy that I don't really count on having a big game? It is Janai Broome. I've just been very disappointed with him. He has been sloppy with the basketball. He had 5 turnovers last game against Michigan. Now, again, Michigan had Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden, 2 7-footers to at least slow him down. I mean, for whatever reason, I guess Michigan forgot how to box out because he was literally just tipping on offensive rebounds. He must have had 4, 5, or 6 of those were uncontested tip-ins because nobody boxed out the one guy you have to box out. But Creighton, really, Kalkbrenner forced him into making some difficult shots. He only scored 8 points. He went 4 of 13. And he also can't shoot a 3. He's not a good shooter. If I'm Michigan State, I'm letting Janai Broome take all the threes he wants today because he was able to shoot it well during the regular season. I think at one point his three-point percentage was up over 30%. But now on the season, he's down to 27%, and he has made 3 of his last 20 triples. 3 of his last 20. So, yeah, if he gets into the paint, I think the plan is double-team Janai Broome and then force somebody else to beat you. And if Auburn has a hot shooting day, so what? So be it. But Michigan State has proven that they defend the perimeter really, really well this year. But if Janai Broome is out on the three line, go ahead and shoot it, big fella, because I'm going to trust that you're not going to make it because I don't think he's a big game player. I don't think he is an NBA player because you're going to have to be able to shoot the three. And I can't remember, a big that has shot the ball this poorly that then we're talking about being the consensus player of the year. And I know college basketball is different than the NBA. And it's not like Janai Broome has been mocked as like a top 5 lottery pick. He's probably late first round, early second round, but I just don't think that. I think if you game plan for him, like Michigan State will, like Michigan did, like Creighton did, that he's not going to have a big game. And I think a lot of people just assume that, hey, Auburn should be the favorite. They're the number 1 team because they've got Janai Broome. Honestly, I think that's becoming more of a hindrance to them. I think he is hindering their chances of winning a national championship.
Hindering. Okay. All right.
I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that good, Sean. I think he's overrated. I think he's going to have another poor game today, and they better hope that Denver Jones and Tahad Pettiford can hit some threes. Otherwise, Auburn's going down. Again, I don't trust Michigan State's ability to shoot. They're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country, the teams that were in the tournament, and they just don't have the sheer size that Auburn has. But they're well coached. They're going to force turnovers. Like Michigan State's plan to win this game has to be getting to the free throw line 25 times like they did last round and hoping that they get kind of the benefit of the whistle and that the referees whistle this a little bit more tightly. Because if Michigan State can get to the free throw line and slow this game down, that's how they win it.
Well, speaking of guys who are not a hindrance to their team in their quest for a national championship game appearance potentially, Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida. Incredible what he did last night. Incredible what he has done throughout here for Florida. But just when you think about future and all the guys that we've talked about that could be top of the lottery, NBA, this, that, the other thing, the shot making and the ability to create your own shot by Walter Clayton Jr. I think he absolutely has the goods to play at the next level. I have no idea what scouts think of him. And honestly, projecting college hoops to the NBA seems like even more impossible than figuring out who the hell a successful quarterback could be in the NFL off college football. But my God, what a signature tournament moment yesterday for Walter Clayton Jr., Boyle. And, one of those moments where you think Florida, and of course, Texas Tech, can you hit a free throw? Absolutely helps Florida just find their way back into the game, but they're screwed if Walter Clayton Jr. just doesn't go bananas, lights out. Some of those plays he made was just give me the damn ball, get the hell out of the way, get on my back. That was a signature, a tournament moment, and 5 minutes, 7 minutes in real time that a player could have in March Madness to get his team to the Final Four that I can remember seeing in a long time, Pat. Just incredible stuff last night.
Yeah, but let's not forget, he doesn't get that chance to just basically dribble out and then turn around and just jack up a three and it goes in without Thomas Haug's 2 big threes from Florida. Those two guys together have been phenomenal. I think Thomas Haug's honestly going to be the better pro than Walter Clayton. Maybe that's a hot take in of itself. But
you're all over the NBA draft here. You're all over NBA draft circles here.
I am. Call me, Call me the NBA
scout.
You what?
You couldn't even think of the NBA draft people. You couldn't even think of it. You said, call me, I don't know. Who's there, McShay? Jay Billis?
But anyway, Florida wasn't knocking down their threes. Texas Tech played that game perfectly. They are milking every possession, getting guys in the paint, working down on the post, forcing Florida to double or going one-on-one. Texas Tech had game plan perfectly for Florida. You can't game plan, though, for 2 guys that just catch fire in the last 4 minutes of a game. They were down 9 with 2:55 to go. And then Thomas Haug and Walter Clayton took over that game for Florida. They've done this to so many teams this year, using just those home run hitting, devastating runs where they're down 6 or 7, and then bang, it turns into an 8-point lead in the blink of an eye. And I don't know if that's a formula that they can keep up, whether they play Auburn or Michigan State in the Final Four. And it's certainly not a formula against Duke. I promise you, if we get a national championship game of Duke versus Florida, which I think would be the best even then, I think Duke wins that game by double digits because Florida, it feels like they're kind of hanging by a thread. Maryland was giving them a good battle as well in the first half. And then, they have that 6-minute spurt where they kind of win a game. I think against Duke and, again, even I don't really believe in Auburn that much, even if it is Florida versus Auburn. I'm not sure that Florida can rely on just Walter Clayton and Thomas Houck, just, hey, go get us a three. Like literally just ISO, turn around and shoot a three if you have an inch of space. I don't know if that's a sustainable formula, but man, they are a fun freaking team to watch. And, they pulled one out of their butts yesterday that really Texas Tech should have won because they were the better team for probably about, the most of that stretch of the second half, the first 16 minutes of the second half, and then boom, in a 4-minute span with the season on the line, Florida just said, hey, it's now or never, and they knocked down those threes. So Walter Clayton and Thomas Houck bringing them back from the death yesterday.
Yeah, and potentially an Auburn-Florida matchup, SEC, will be tremendous in the Final Four. I would expect that also to be the early game in the Final Four. I think Duke basically could be playing the Brooklyn Nets, and that would be the final game on Saturday. I think they're going to put Duke in the brightest of lights, and I think that'll be your order of games on Saturday. I will say, watching the end of the Florida game, it dawned on me, whether it's college football or college basketball, and Pat, you know this, right? You grew up in the Northeast with myself, and obviously we're in Big East country when it comes to basketball. When it comes to football, it's kind of, you and I both like college football, but it's more, hey, just watch whatever the big games are. We don't have teams unless you're part of an alma mater. And it dawned on me late in that game, why, Sean, why? Why do you never root necessarily for Florida instead of, maybe a decent bet? Why? And I realized that hand motion gator chomp at 37 years old, it finally clicked with me, Pat. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. If I was a player on Texas Tech after that collapse and I'm getting that stupid gator chomp right in my face as I'm trying to inbound the ball, suddenly I'm down 7 after I was up basically 17 10 minutes ago, I would be throwing haymakers, and I'm not even a fighter. That gator chomp is so insufferably not even cool. It's not even a good motion. I don't know. Of all the college traditions, a player doing a gator chomp in my face makes me want to punch their lights out. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. And I think that's the reason I've been anti-gator most of my life. And it finally clicked on me after a Texas Tech collapse last night.
Yeah, well, I think Tim Tebow, probably irks a lot of people as well with, his whole act, whatever you want to call it, because I think that's what it is.
Not an act. Don't come after Tebow. Tebow is not an act.
I'm coming after Tebow.
The problem with Tebow is that he's not an act. That's actually, ironically, the problem with Tebow.
It's too good to be true. It's too good to be true, Tebow's act. But either way, I think that's what, By the way, is Florida basketball? I was listening to PMT, and they were going through which school is basketball school, which school is football school. Would you say Florida's a football school or basketball school?
I think it's still when I close my eyes, Florida's a football school. But look, they had the back-to-back national championships. They might win another one here. Perfect example, dude. Auburn has completely changed their basketball program. I still consider them a football school as well. To me, it's very hard in the SEC. Like, if you really think about it, like, what SEC schools do you lean basketball over football?
Kentucky.
Okay. So Kentucky.
Probably Tennessee.
I mean, Peyton Manning school is more of a basketball school. I was actually going to say,
when's the last time I know Tennessee had a good run with Joe Milton, but when have they actually been sustainably an elite football team?
But I don't know, man. There's something about those Saturdays in college football season with the checkered end zone at Tennessee where that's the lifeblood. You'd have to ask somebody from Knoxville how they feel about that. I'll tell you the other one that would be unpopular, I think, and cause a gasp, but think about it, Arkansas, dude. I think Arkansas is more of a basketball school than a football school these days. I really do. And
really? Just because of but they've
and you know what?
Haven't been good.
Vandy, definitely more basketball.
Vandy's neither. Vandy, they stink mostly at everything.
But they'll at least hang in there in regular seasons in basketball. They can't football.
No, I know, and they were ranked this year. They made the tournament. They were I think they were ranked in college football for in and out of the top 25 for most this year as well. But
No, not Florida
Yeah.
though. Who tipped you off to Florida? I know we only got a couple seconds. PFT.
Tipped me off to Florida?
No, you had mentioned PFT. Yeah, to me, they're a football school. Absolutely a football school. But look, I mean, they go win another national championship, 3 national championships in a lifetime in basketball, and the whole Urban Meyer. How great would it be just to be a kid there and know that at least 1 and 2 you're going to be decent in one of those sports? That's nice. That's nice. The girls help too. The girls always help.
The girls always help.
Of course they do. All right, when we come back, Patty and I get into baseball's first weekend, and there's money to be made all over the place. Plus, next hour, Dingbats return. We'll give you some home run bets for the day. Baseball, basketball, we're all over the place. Sports are popping, baby. Why did I just say that? All right, Sunday's bets presented by the BetMGM Network.
Bet smarter, win bigger. This is Sunday's Bets with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle on the BetMGM Network.
I never got to you, Brandon.
Smart money, sharp plays, and big paydays. This is Sunday's Bets with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle, only on the BetMGM Network.
That one's driven deep to left field. There it goes. See ya. Back to back to back. 3-0 Yankees.
All right, Michael, how do you top this as a first inning? 3 pitches, 3 home runs. The Yankees on fire here early.
That, of course, the Yes Network yesterday, the New York Yankees crush the Milwaukee Brewers. What did we get on the final on that? 20-9 yesterday? I actually lost the whatever it was.
20-9.
Whatever it was the first time in Yankee history. It was a Yankee scoregami that they won a game by the score of 20-9. And it had only happened one other time for the New York Giants and New York Jets each that they had won a score by the same exact score of 20-9. How about that? Little fun fact for you. You had to be Shawnee broadcast, be watching the game to get that little nugget out there. So
I heard it was also the last time that a New York team, football or baseball, scored 20 points in the last 2 years.
Not true, but funny take. Funny take. By the way, not anymore, baby. Not with the moon ball in New York. Not with Russie.
The moon ball. Come on,
Russie
don't take me off track and make me have to rip you a new one for wanting Russell Wilson as the quarterback of the New York Giants.
Let me just tell you this, Pat. I understand Russell Wilson's deficiencies. I understand Russell Wilson's cornbaldness. What has happened since Tuesday when Russell Wilson has signed with the Giants, his press conferences, the talent on offense that fit the Russell Wilson deep ball approach, the New York Football Giants right now saw an over-under number go from 3.5 to 5.5, depending on the books you have. Slam the over right now. This Giant team is going to be in playoff watch in December. Slam it. I'm telling you right now. Slam the over. The Giants are winning a minimum of 7 games, and I would not be stunned at all if this team, knowing the talent they have now, wins 9 games at least, which may get you in at 9-8 to that final wild card in the NFC. Russell Wilson with Brian Daboll is a match made in heaven. And the Giants are ultimately going to have the last laugh here. And the Giants will finish in the NFC East ahead of the Cowboys and either Washington or Philly. One of those other teams will win the division. The other will come back to earth. The Giants will be the second-place team in the NFC East if Russell Wilson starts 17 games. If Russell Wilson starts 17 games.
Playoffs?
You telling you right now.
Playoffs?
You can make your head explode all you want. They're going to be one of the sleeper teams in the NFL.
What do you do? Did you not watch the last 2 months of the Steelers season? Did you not see how bad Russell Wilson was?
I did.
And do you realize, one,
Malik
how
Neighbors
bad
is
the
better than
Giants'
George
offensive
Pickens
line was, and until they upgrade at the receiver room, they have one weapon right now. They have one weapon. It's Malik Neighbors.
I mean, that's simply not true. The Steelers last year were dying with Russell Wilson to trade for Darius Slayton at the deadline. To the Giants stupidly didn't trade for him because they were dying to upgrade that receiver room, get a number 2 receiver. That's already the Giants' number 2 receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson, excellent in the slot. You saw what happened with Freiermuth. Theo Johnson is going to be a stud at tight end for the Giants in the second year.
You told me
Giants
Theo Johnson was going to be the next Travis Kelce.
I guess what? They didn't have a quarterback, Pat. They didn't have a quarterback, Pat. Now they have a quarterback.
And they still don't have a quarterback.
Yes, they do. And I don't even love Russell Wilson. Yes, they do. And I still think they should take Shedeur Sanders. But he may sit all year. This could be an Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love situation. This team is going to be better than you think this year. I'm telling you right now. The fact that Russell Wilson came in and could rip off 20 guys on this roster. Don't give me the crap about the offensive line. Watch the games, Pat. The moment Andrew Thomas, their all-world left tackle, got hurt,
he's always hurt. He's always hurt.
The offensive line is better. The talent is better. And oh, by the way, their defense on paper, the Giants' 2025 defense, as presented pre-draft right now, is better on paper than the Steelers' defense was a year ago. The Giants are better than the Pittsburgh Steelers were a year ago. It is
That's
not
a nonsensical take.
They have TJ Watt and
they signed Javon Holland and
at.
Paulson Adebo, and now all of a sudden they're a top 10 defense.
They
couldn't stop a nosebleed last year.
They got Burns. They got Thibodeau. Maybe they end up with Abdul Carter as well. They got Dexter freaking Lawrence. Giants had a lot of injuries last year. I didn't want to do it, Pat. I didn't want to do this on March 30th. But I am in love with Russell Wilson after everything I've heard this week. And again, I know his deficiencies. I know he's not all world. All the Giants need is mediocre quarterback play, and they could win 9 games with this roster. So that's it. That's it. Deal with it.
The only thing The only way out of the dumpster for the Giants is if they draft a rookie quarterback with the top 3 pick, whether they trade up to Tennessee and
I
get
think they
Cam
will.
Ward
I
at
think
number
they're going
1.
to take Shedeur Sanders. I think they're going to take.
That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. That's the one quarterback I wouldn't take. But either way, that's their. If they believe in Shedeur
because you're Mel Kiper Jr., right? You're Mel freaking Kiper Jr. That's the one quarterback I wouldn't take. Go scratch your ass. Well, okay, and if they pass on him, and he's great. They passed on Bo Nix last year. Everybody killed him for it after because he ended up being
well, if
good.
your general manager actually had a brain last year and decided to just take Michael Penix at 6, get the quarterback because
we have no idea if Michael Penix is any good. Can everybody stop with this crap? I'm getting so tired of hearing about this crap about what the Giants passed on last year at quarterback. They got arguably the best receiver not named Justin Jefferson in the NFL now on their roster by taking Malik Neighbors. And as a result, they passed on J.J. McCarthy, who the Vikings still barely can commit to as a starting quarterback in year 2 off the injury. They passed on Michael Penix, who couldn't carry the Falcons at the end of the year to the playoffs when the NFC South was dying to be won. And Bo Nix, who we still don't know how good he is, but ended up with Sean Payton. Stop with this crap that the general manager screwed up last year. They now have Russell Wilson in place, who is a bona fide, at least decent starting quarterback on a team that couldn't win a game because they didn't have a starting quarterback. Drew Lock's going to play in the UFL. He was starting games last year. So don't get me hot and bothered about this. If they take Shedeur Sanders and he waits and sits behind Russ, that's actually an ideal situation for an organization that's actually recovered and built a decent freaking roster. Why am I pissed off on March 30th about football now? We were supposed to do a nice little baseball segment. And of course, you should know better too. You live in New York. This garbage from the outside where nobody has a clue about the Giant roster and what the problems are. You should know better with your Jeffrey Dahmer stupid glasses.
They drafted Malik Neighbors last year at 6, who broke all their rookie records and it was breaking NFL rookie receiving records. And they won 3 games. There is a reason why the Giants...
Let's do it now. I can't
There's a reason why the Giants continue to suck. Yes, if they would have taken Michael Penix, he is good, by the way. I mean, the Falcons literally threw him in there with the season on the line, and he performed pretty damn well against Washington in prime time against Jaden Daniels, who took the Commanders to the NFC title game. Bo Nix takes the Broncos to the playoffs with one receiver and a good offensive line, but with one receiver. The Giants screwed up. Your general manager is going to screw this up again somehow. And don't tell me about the defense on paper is better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. How can you say that? The Giants defense has been a laughing stock for the last 2 years. They have no secondary. The guys that I've been hearing about, Kayvon Thibodeau, who's going to be a 15-sack-a-season guy, has yet to realize his potential. Their linebackers can't tackle. They can't stop the run. The Giants' defense is a very mediocre unit at best. And now you're bringing in an aged Russell Wilson, and you're getting excited because the win total went from 3.5 to 5.5? So you've went from one of the worst teams in football. Now you're going to be maybe the 5th worst team in football, and you're supposed to sell me on excitement about Russell Wilson and the development of Shedeur Sanders.
You ready to play nice? You ready to play nice now? You had me you had me click out of this whole show because you pissed me off. There's Eric in Tulsa right now, Bob in Salt Lake City, Samantha in Topeka, Charlie in South Carolina, all looking for a decent college basketball segment, all looking to see what we think about the Braves not winning a game versus the Padres. And you got me all riled up about Russell Wilson and the Giants. The roster's better than people think. They should have won 7 games out of their first 10 last year if they had decent quarterback play. After that, all the injuries mounted, and everybody basically laid down to their swords and quit. There is a long draft process ahead. There is a long offseason ahead. Russell Wilson makes the Giants a quality football team that will live in the range most NFL teams live in 6 to 10 wins, and they're due for some breaks. Period. End of story. I'm sorry to everybody out there for my outburst. I'm sorry that you had to listen to an uneducated football take from Pat Boyle. And we will do better as a show going forward. Okay? Got it? Now, baseball season. The opening weekend of baseball season. Here's my early takeaway, first and foremost. And I mentioned the Braves and Padres for a second. Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Braves looking to avoid getting 4 games swept and mollywopped by the Padres. I didn't understand with all the Brave losses they suffered this offseason, why everybody was so high on them. over a team like the Phillies in the NL East. I think the Braves, you want a hot take, are already dead in the NL East. They will not win that division this year. Rip up the tickets. Bang, boom. I've seen enough. The roster's not good enough. They stink. They need Sean Murphy back catching. Here's your other hot take. Much like Duke going to the Final Four in a national championship game, if you're looking for a reason to bet against the Dodgers winning the National League, you're trying too hard and you're just looking for value. They are so far beyond the best team in baseball and the best team in the National League. And I think baseball is very much on the verge of a parity problem in the National League, because I think this is no joke now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. My third big takeaway, Rafael Devers is not hurt. He's had 10 strikeouts his first couple games. People want to point to injury. Rafael Devers is pissed off. He said at the beginning of spring training he was not a DH. He is the kind of guy, like it or not, that probably feels like he needs to be engaged constantly in the field and not have this weighing over him, third base, first base, whatever it may be. He wanted to be the third baseman. They signed Alex Bregman. I think there's a little part of signing Alex Bregman that has mentally wrecked Rafael Devers, and at some point he's going to have to grow up, put his big boy pants, and get over it. But in the meantime, I think the Red Sox are in trouble with the dynamic they put in. There's Shawnee's 3 baseball takes. What do you got, Pat?
I will answer all those in a minute here. I totally agree with you with Devers. 10 strike. That's it. That hasn't been done in like 125 years, by the way. 10 strikeouts in the first 3 games. He is lost at the plate right now, and he basically said, by the way, like, talk about breaking a guy's spirit. He basically defiantly said, I'm a third baseman. I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And then he moved. Now he's the DH. He accepted that. Now he's 0 for 12 to start the season with 10 strikeouts, and he goes, let's stop talking about that. I'm the DH. Like, damn, dude. What did you a memo on how to literally take your franchise player and ruin it? Like, I'm telling you, this is the beginning of the end for Rafael Devers in Boston. Any shot they have of winning the AL East, like, he's got to get his act together. So they need to find a way to somehow move past that. Number 2, you're burying the Braves. You're burying the Atlanta Braves after 3 games.
Look, I know
you're burying the Atlanta Braves after 3 games. They still have Austin Riley. They still have Matt Olson. They still have Ozuna. They still have Albies. They still have Mike. They have the core of that lineup. They're not going anywhere, Shawnee.
They're not winning the division, and I felt that way preseason. I think the first weekend has just brought that home. They're not good enough. They've lost too many pieces. All right, we're going to continue this baseball conversation since it got interrupted. And, of course, we have some more hot takes and hot cakes at the top hour, number 2. I'm Sean Morash. He's Pat Boyle. Sunday's Bets, presented by the BetMGM Network. Sports are popping, baby.
Coming up next, Sunday's Bets are serving up their hot takes and hot cakes. Only on the BetMGM Network.
Yep.
The BetMGM Network Sunday service starts now. With Sean Marash.
I will punch you in your stupid face, and I hate the Knicks.
And Pat Boyle.
That's probably why I'm not a GM in the NFL, but if I was, I would probably take a huge swing on Michael Penix.
Turning your faith into fortune.
Few things in the gambling world I can't wait to bet more than the Jets under right now.
While serving up hotcakes and hot takes. This is Sunday's Bets, presented by the sportsbook born in Vegas. BetMGM.
Wake up, baby. It's hour number 2 on this Sunday morning of Sunday's Bets on the BetMGM Network. I'm Sean Moran, joined by Pat Boyle. Remember, if you're listening to us on any of our great affiliates, thank you. If we get out of that local listening range, download that Odyssey app. We are always free on the Odyssey app, the BetMGM Network. Search for it there. Go on your phones, download that Twitch app, twitch.tv/the BetMGM Network. And we all have YouTube on our smart TVs these days, right? Some of us, all of us. YouTube, search the BetMGM Network. We're live there, of course, and we'll be all day long here as we talk you through the Elite Eight, all the baseball action. And we forget the NBA is still going on because March Madness hijacks that. And, of course, the NHL as well. We're going to get into more baseball thoughts. I have one coming up here in our segment, Hot Takes and Hot Cakes. But, Patty, why don't you start us off? Hour number 2, Hot Takes, Hot Cakes.
Fresh off the griddle and straight from the horse's mouth, it's time for Hot Cakes and Takes with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle on the BetMGM Network.
Yeah, I got 2 bets for you here, Sean. I got some hot cakes, both on the March Madness Elite Eight games that we will be watching and sinking our teeth into today. Let's start with the early one. Houston versus Tennessee, 1 versus the 2 with the right to play Duke in the Final Four. You had it in the first hour. We are on the same side. I've said it since the tournament began. I was not a believer in Houston. Neither of us were believers in Houston. And we are going to either go down swinging or we are finally going to be proven right here in the Elite Eight. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers on the money line right now on BetMGM. It's plus 125. Bang. This spread is up to 3.5. It's been hovering between 3 and 3.5. If you want to take the spread, again, 3.5, and you're like, what's the difference, right? I might as well just take them on the money line. Again, a total of just 124.5 in this game. So they're expecting this to be low 60s, like 3.5 points. That's basically like 6.5 if we're talking about like the total that Michigan State and Auburn is, or the total that Duke, Alabama. That would be a much more room for the spread there. But either way, these are 2 teams that are so similar, not identical, but so similar in the way that they play. Very slow, 2 of the slowest paced teams in the country, slow you down in the half court, great defensive guards, good at protecting the rim. Both of them don't turn the ball over that well. Houston forces a lot of turnovers. They have that advantage on paper against Tennessee. They have the 3-point shooting advantage on paper against Tennessee. But I'm rocking with the Volunteers on the money line, plus 125. And you know what? Again, this is me just going down with the sword here, going down with the ship, if you will, in my belief that Houston is not a Final Four team, and also me backing the SEC. I think it's foolish to just blindly bet Tennessee and say, oh, well, they were in the SEC, Houston was, and that's why Tennessee's going to win this game. No, I think it's when you look at the star power of these 2 teams, Tennessee, I trust Zakai Ziegler and Chaz Lanier over Milos Ujan and LJ Cryer. Now, again, maybe I'm just a hater of LJ Cryer, but I feel like in all the years I've watched him in college basketball, from his 3 years at Baylor and now his 2 years here at Houston, I just don't think that he is made for the bright lights. And I was actually looking back. Now, mind you, last year when Houston got knocked out in the Sweet 16 by Duke, LJ Cryer didn't have a bad game. He went 7 for 14 or 7 for 13. He scored 15 points. And in their tournament loss 2 years ago against Creighton, he scored 30 points in the loss. But for me, he's just too inconsistent. Last game, they overcame a very poor game from LJ Cryer. He went 2 for 13 from the field. He only scored 5 points, and they were able to hang on and beat Purdue because Milos Ujan was able to hit some shots. And mind you, the game before, LJ Cryer had 30 against Gonzaga. I just think he's way too inconsistent, and against a team that I know is going to defend well, that has good defending guards like Tennessee, I don't think LJ Cryer is going to have a big game. I think he's going to need his teammates to save him in this one. Milos Ujan again, Tugler and Jawan Roberts, like that's where Houston has to dominate this game. They've got to get offensive rebounds, and they've got to win the free throw battle, and they've got to force more turnovers than Tennessee does. I just think Tennessee is going to rise to this challenge. I think, you look at the coaches, Rick Barnes versus Kelvin Sampson. I think I'd give that a wash. I think both are great head coaches. But Tennessee has gone up with some of the best teams in the country this year, and they've beaten them. Houston has only lost once in basically the last 3 months. They ran through the Big 12. I know how great their defense is, but it feels like Houston is a team that does this every year. We've talked about it, Sean. The 1 seed in the last couple of years, losing the Sweet 16, losing the Sweet 16. It feels like that's their MO. And again, this year, they were the best three-point shooting team in the tournament, so they've been able to evolve. I just think it's a classic shoulda, coulda, woulda, like Houston got this close. Yep. I think Tennessee wins this game by 3 or 4 points because they're able to knock down some key shots and they're going to be able to score from inside. Even if Houston's out shooting them from 3, I still think Tennessee's guards on the perimeter, Meshack, Ziegler, Lanier, is going to neutralize Houston. And I think this is going to become a good old-fashioned rock fight that I think Tennessee is better by 2 to 3 possessions. So I'm going with Tennessee on the money line along with you, Shawnee. And I don't know if you wanted to offer some more thoughts on this game. Or I can go to
And I would just say this, if you think that you're staring at something in Houston today, this is very important because people love this, what do the sharps think? What does the public think? The public is also all over Tennessee today. This is not a case of, wow, the 1 seed, if I wake up on a Sunday, is only laying 2.5 points over at BetMGM. Just know that if you're riding with me and Pat, we have no problem doing this. You're riding with the public today. The public loves Tennessee. But I also think there is good reason for that, right? I mean, we've seen, obviously, the SEC come alive in this tournament. And from a Houston standpoint, if you're going to play that rock fight defensive mentality, we've seen, a point in time each of the last few years where that runs its course. And eventually you're going to have to make more shots than the other team to win these games. And I just think this poses the worst possible matchup for Houston, because if the one thing you're going to have a major advantage at is just your lockdown, airtight defense, you can't run into a team that plays it at least at a level close enough to you the way Tennessee has. And I just think that's where Houston's in trouble in this game.
Yeah, so we are both on the same side there. Now let's go to the late game today, 5:05 Eastern, whatever the fakakta start time they've given us for Auburn and Michigan State.
Which, by the way, thank God, Pat, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern. I mean, last Sunday I had 3 games going on at 9 o'clock at night. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. I'm happy with the start time stuff.
Yeah, we've got 2:20 Eastern and 5:05 Eastern. So even for the folks on the West Coast, 11:20 a.m. That's not. I mean, that would make me a little bit sick if I live in California, or if I live anywhere on the West Coast and I've got to watch an 11:20 a.m. Elite Eight game. But hey, sorry about it. The 5:05 though is that prime time. You're getting Iron Eagle, and you're getting that number 1 crew from Michigan State and Auburn. 5:05 Eastern, CBS. I think this is a defensive battle. Totals 147.5 on BetMGM. I'm going under here. Michigan State, one of the worst 3-point shooting teams left in the tournament. They scored 23% of their points from 3. That's 356th in the country. Next lowest mark among the other Elite 8 teams going into this round was Auburn. They scored 33% of their points from deep. Michigan State has only made 10 threes in their last 2 games. I think Auburn's got a very underrated defense. Maybe it's not underrated. I mean, they're ranked one of the best defenses in the country, so maybe it's not underrated. I just think this total, I thought this total was going to be high 130s. And, again, I'm not like a handicapper. I don't consider myself, a guy that sets the lines. But I just think they're basically expecting both teams to be in the 70s here. This is supposed to be like 76, 71. I don't see it that way. I think this stays in the 60s for 2 teams that play great defense. Michigan State wreaks havoc. I think they're going to force Auburn into some turnovers. If the Tigers come out of the gate and they're hitting their threes, then Michigan State's got to play catch up. But Michigan State doesn't shoot the 3 ball well. Auburn defends the glass incredibly well, and they've just got good size and length that I think it's going to be difficult for Michigan State to shoot over. And I think the Spartans want to get this game to the free throw line. They want to muck it up. So I think we see a lot of long possessions. I don't think Michigan State's going to try to speed up the tempo against Auburn. I think they want to slow it down as much as possible. I think Auburn's playing and is comfortable playing at whatever pace Michigan State wants to go with. So I think this is just a slow-paced game where, again, Auburn's going to trust that they've got the shot makers for them to, build a 5-point lead at half and kind of sustain it throughout the second half. And I don't think Michigan State thinks that they can just shoot their way to a win here. It's about efficiency. It's about keeping possessions, not turning the ball over. And to me, all of those factors combined, to me, spells a low-scoring game here between Michigan State and Auburn. So I'm going with the under 147.5. I think it goes under by quite some bit. I'm very confident. Could be wrong. It's a make-or-miss sport, right? We hear that cliche term all the time, but it is the truth. But I don't think either team reaches 70 points in this game.
Okay. I don't hate that bet at all, which means today we're going to be watching some really ugly basketball, if that's the case. But look, that's what the college game could be. Now, Pat, my hot cake is going to be baseball related. I just want to tell everybody to step into the batter's box with BetMGM for opening day. Snag the 20% odds boost token today. And don't miss your chance at a bigger payout on your MLB bet. 20% odds boost. Pretty nice, pretty nice. So look, if I'm looking at odds boost today, one bet I am all over on the Major League Baseball slate. Jacob deGrom returns to the mound, the prized elder ace of the Texas Rangers who had a lost season last year due to injury. He is pitching versus a Boston Red Sox team that can't stop striking out. Okay, 13 strikeouts on opening day. I forget the total number they had yesterday. Rafael Devers, we touched on this, 10 strikeouts already through a couple games of this Major League Baseball season himself. Look, all of that being said, the Red Sox strike out a ton. Rafael Devers is getting a lot of attention for all his strikeouts. You have a number today at 6.5 for Jacob deGrom, which is juiced to the over. Plus 104 right now on the under. 6.5 strikeouts for Jacob deGrom. Pat, I'm on the under. I think if you're a guy who maybe starts betting baseball because you have money in the account right now, the BetMGM account, you're getting flush with the college basketball and going, oh, what's fun with baseball today? Oh, Jacob deGrom's back, the ace, the strikeout guy. Oh, Rafael Devers keeps striking out, right? Like, I hate to say this, but simple caveman concept gambling tells you, oh, of course, Jacob deGrom, look, the biggest Red Sox keeps striking out, over 6.5, and look at the juice number here. This is a lock. They're going to go over. I'm going the other way here. And I want everybody to keep in mind this who hasn't paid attention to spring training. Texas Rangers manager Bruce Bochy went out of his way to talk about how much the Texas Rangers are going to look to, and he even said this, put Jacob deGrom on the IL at some point this year to limit his innings, to skip starts at some points this year to limit his innings. And now in his first start, coming out of spring training, off an injury, we see Major League Baseball starters, and this is a time to cash in this first week, Boyle, all the time. 4 innings, 5 innings top. The starting pitchers aren't going deep into these baseball games on a normal situation. Now a guy who I had the manager outwardly tell the world they would go as far as coming up with a fake IL stint, which I'm not even sure is legally allowed to be said, for their starter. I don't think Jacob deGrom, by no fault of his own, is even pitching more than 3 innings today. Would that stun anybody in the least? They are going to go so far out of the way to baby Jacob deGrom early in April, let him build himself up, and skip starts because the manager said so. So when I look at 6.5, to hit that over, you're asking Jacob deGrom to pitch to enough batters today to get to 7 strikeouts, to pitch to enough batters today on a team that is so well aware of how much they've struck out to start the year in the Boston Red Sox. I am all on the under 6.5 case. Even if Jacob deGrom strikes out 6 guys and that's it, you cash on the under and it's positive money. The manager's not going to let him pitch enough. The Red Sox themselves are hyper aware of what's happened to them. I think they're going to be a little more patient at the plate at times this year, maybe swing first pitch, that kind of deal today. Doesn't mean by the end of the game the Red Sox won't have freaking 17 strikeouts because the bullpen of Texas starts mowing them down, by the way. But I just think it's asking a lot to get 7 Ks from Jacob deGrom today when we have no idea how deep Texas is willing to even let him pitch in his first start of the year, knowing it's already in the back of their mind how much they want to limit his innings, Pat. So this is my favorite baseball bet of the day, frankly, is the under Jacob deGrom 6.5 Ks today.
I think I'm going to blindly tail that, Shawnee. I think I'm going to blindly tell. I like it. I think you've got, again, I think understanding, being in the know of what the situation is with Jacob deGrom means a lot here. Again, can he get 7 strikeouts in like 3 1/3 innings? Yes, he could, because he is Jacob deGrom.
I'll happily lose if that's the case. But if Jacob deGrom is out of this game in the mid-4th inning, I'm going to feel like I'm cashing this bet.
Like, I feel pretty confident he's not pitching more than 4 innings. right? Unless
Right.
he's super efficient and he's throwing 12, 13 pitches an inning. Like, he's got such good stuff that guys will, again, I think there is normally a lot of deep counts against DeGrom because he's got such great stuff.
Yeah.
So unless he's filling up the strike zone in his first start, in the beginning of the season, and since 2023, remember, he made those 3 starts at the end of last year and didn't throw more than 60 pitches in any of those starts. And again, he's got to have like 8 strikeouts in 3 innings. Otherwise, I feel really good about this as well.
Yeah, baseball's dying. Or the books are dying for you. Dying for you to see Jacob deGrom's name and understand the Red Sox strikeout situation and go, of course I'm betting the over. They're begging you to do that. All right, we come back. There's an NBA season still going on. We look at the slate today, some of the bets we may like as well. And Dingbats, home run bets come up at the end of the hour. It's Sunday's Bets on the BetMGM Network.
Spreads, props, parlays. If it's bettable, we're talking about it. You're tuned in to Sunday's Bets on the BetMGM Network.
Hey, we're going to come back to that final call from the Bulls-Lakers game the other night. I love being a play-in team. It's great. But the call was fantastic, though. The who? And to be fair, I just don't have that highlight. The Bulls one was already in the system. We have a read here too, Sean.
Sunday's Bets with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle, only on the BetMGM Network.
Timeouts. 2 seconds left. Giddy for the win. Go! My God! I cannot believe this. Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby. Oh, no. Improbable. Unbelievable. Impossible. Magic Giddy. Good day, mate. Somewhere in Australia, Sydney, or Melbourne, Paul Hogan and somebody there, Crocodile Dundee.
Man, Bulls and Lakers have had some absolute thrillers over the last week or so. Bulls, by the way, lose last night to the Mavs. That was from the Laker game. Was that Friday night? Thursday night? Whatever night it was. The NBA, though, Pat, first I should give a read as I pull back behind the curtain. It's raining threes and bonus bets. Here's how you have the chance every Sunday to win some big-time bonus bets by picking a player you think is going to make it rain from downtown. Here's how it works. Opt into the Sunday Splash Jackpot promotion. Place a $10 or more NBA player three-pointers bet up to one eligible bet per game on Sunday. If your player scores the most three-pointers on that Sunday, you'll win a share of $50,000 in bonus bets. You know, on one hand, I give the NBA credit, because whether it's via TV partners or otherwise, they really do take a back seat these couple weekends of the NCAA tournament, Pat, and really have their focus earlier in the weeks and stuff like that. But we're going to end this, by this time next week, the Final Four is over, right? We're going to be looking ahead to the national championship game, and you're going to be in full swing mode towards the NBA playoffs. But if you've, let's say, removed yourself outside of your internal fandom of whatever your NBA team is and want to get a little caught up on a couple things here. Here's what you need to know. Number one, I don't know how you felt about this, Pat. The Grizzlies, in the midst of not playing in the play-in, being in the playoffs, struggled of late. Firing Taylor Jenkins, their head coach, just felt stunning at this time of the year this week.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable that they've had that much success. They've had, a pretty damn good season, right? I mean, they're not first in the West. They're not right behind Oklahoma City, but they've had a damn good year. And, they're 44-30. They're hanging in there like a chance to get the 3 seed. Maybe they've, now they're 2.5 back of Denver, but they're going to be a top 6 seed. It feels like almost certainly. They've lost 6 out of their last 10, and now they pull the plug on the coach that has been there for the last 6 years with them, that has turned them into this high-flying offensive machine that plays the fastest pace in the NBA. To me, something we've got to be getting some kind of story about something coming out where there was a riff with John Moran and Taylor Jenkins, or that Taylor Jenkins, I don't know, doing something that he shouldn't be doing. This just does not make any sense to me. I was floored by this move. With 9 games left, how do you not let the season play out? What was so tremendously wrong with the dynamic between Taylor Jenkins and the rest of these players that with literally 2 weeks to go in the season, you're going to disrupt any and all momentum and chemistry you've built to think that you have a better chance of winning now with their assistant coaches taking over here for the interim. I could not believe that. I thought Taylor Jenkins has been a great head coach. But man, that was stunning to say the least. That's a big time head scratcher.
Now that walks me into what I think is going to be my favorite play of the day with a spread plus something. Look, again, if you're so hyper fixated on March Madness and I've kind of taken your attention away from the NBA, kind of an under the radar story. How about what's happened to the Cleveland Cavs over the last month or so here, Pat? I'm not sure if you're even on top of this, but I mean, 5-5 in their last 10. And as you mentioned, we're heading towards 9 games left, 8 games left, 10 games left, depending on who you are on the NBA schedule right now. A team that was historically good in the first half, built up such a padded lead that the number 1 seed has been never in doubt in the Eastern Conference. But, Pat, in any sport, staying hot late, playing your best basketball late, there's a lot of that. And I can't help but think, man, have the Cleveland Cavs absolutely taken their foot off the gas too much and maybe really crashed back down to earth at the worst possible time that people aren't even fully aware of? Cleveland loses on, Friday night to the Pistons, 133-122. And now here they are, and I think the big game of the day is them and the Clips, who have played well. Clippers plus 240 on the money line. The Cavs laying 7.5. They're minus 300 on the money line. You have a total of 229.5. I'm throwing a dart with the Cavs at plus 240 on the money line today. With the Clippers at plus 240 on the money line. It's just been too clunky a basketball here for the Cavs. Something has not been right. Now, maybe a little showcase game here, a little wake up versus a good team versus the Clippers. Sure, anything's possible. And if you're not comfortable with the 240 money line, 7.5 feels like too big a number right now, especially with the Clippers playing decent basketball themselves.
Yeah, I think this is a case of Cleveland feels like they have the number 1 seed in the East wrapped up, and now they've taken their foot off the gas, right? I mean, they had that historic 16-game win streak, and then after that, they lost, 4 in a row, right? 4 in a row, and now they've lost, like you said, 5 out of their last 10. Boston has won 8 in a row, so it's only a 4-game lead, but there's 8 games left to play. So the likelihood of them blowing the number 1 seed feels entirely unlikely. Now, again, coaches will tell you all the time, and I haven't heard if Kenny Atkinson has actually said this, about not wanting to take their foot off the gas, wanting to stay hot through the playoffs. But I mean, really, they're most likely not going to be tested by whoever the 8 seed ends up being. I'm sure Brandon Combs would like to make the argument that his Chicago Bulls, who we just heard with that Josh Giddey unbelievable call, and that 3, what a brutal, we can get into that in a second, the brutal ending by LeBron James, his defensive mishaps and his turnovers, and then also an all-time call from Adam Amin and Stacey King on Bulls TV.
Great.
But I think, again, the likelihood is the Cavaliers, if it's the Magic, Hawks, Bulls, Heat, whoever ends up being the 8 seed, they're probably going to win in 6 games or less. So it's like, yeah, you could tell us that you want to go be hot going into the playoffs, but you'll have an entire first round to most likely get your feet wet. Again, we've seen an 8-1 in the past. I don't think it's going to happen with just how consistently solid on both ends of the floor Cleveland has been. So I think, yeah, they're probably taking their foot off the gas here a little bit down the stretch. You got a Clippers team that is going to be without Kawhi Leonard today, but that's, again, flip a coin when Kawhi Leonard is playing. I know he's done a good job of playing lately since he started the season injured, but they basically still never play him on back-to-backs. But yeah, this is a Clippers team that's fighting for playoff positioning in the West right now. They have that 6th spot, but they're tied with Golden State, so they've got everything to play for. Again, Coach Speak will tell you that Cleveland wants to get right here going down the final couple of games of the regular season, but they've, in all likelihood, got the number 1 seed wrapped up. So I'm staying away from this game also because Cleveland, this is their 3rd game in their last 4 days, and it's their 4th game in their last 7 days. So maybe a bit fatigued. I know they're at home. I know it's a Sunday afternoon game, but the Clippers do have a little bit of the rest advantage. This is a game that I just don't want to touch, but I can't blame you at all for throwing a dart here on the Clips.
The other one I like on the line is a game that, unless you're in the cities of Toronto and Philadelphia, why on earth would you be watching it? But I do love the Raptors laying the 4 versus the 76ers, who have fully, if they were driving a physical tank, the gas button would be the gas pedal would absolutely be floored to the ground, and they would be driving that thing. You talk about trusting the process. Boy, has Philadelphia found a way in this last year to just skyrocket to the 5th worst record there, try to duke it out with the Brooklyn Nets to try to get to that 10% mark of getting to the first pick, because the other top 4 spots seem virtually locked up. And in the interim, the Raptors have kind of played themselves out of that spot a little bit. Raptors playing with spunk, Sixers playing with nothing but gunk. Give me the 4-point spread. I'm laying with Toronto today. Philadelphia wouldn't stun me if they basically won one game the rest of the year.
That's it. You know what that is, Shawnee? That's a call the hotline spot right there. That's
The
a call the
Raptors.
hotline.
I'm on it, bro. I love Toronto today. I love it.
That's a call the hotline spot. You know what I do love? I just had it here in front of me. I love Minnesota. I love the Timberwolves laying the 7.5 against Pistons.
Do you?
Yes, Cade Cunningham is doubtful to play. So I guess he could get upgraded. And again, it's at 7 o'clock. So don't take my word for gospel until you see Cade Cunningham confirmed either out or not out. But he is doubtful to play on the injury report that was released last night or this morning. So without Cade Cunningham,
Pistons deeper than you think, though. I'm just going to tell you that.
I'm not saying they're not deep, and I'm not just saying that they're a one-trick pony. Malik Beasley's been one of the best 6 men in basketball this year. Dennis Schroeder, since coming to Detroit, has stepped in nicely coming off the bench, and now that he's going to probably start today at point guard again if Cade Cunningham is out. But this has the makings for me of a game where Minnesota doesn't take them lightly. Again, I've been wrong about Minnesota before. I've been wrong about Chris Finch and this team. They still have that kind of dumb as rocks mentality that Chuck Barkley labeled them as having 2 years ago. Remember when they were acting like they won the finals when they got in at the play-in tournament with Pat Bev? But this feels like a Timberwolves team that knows that they are jockeying for that 6th spot, trying to get in. They're a half game back of the Warriors and the Clippers. This is like a huge opportunity for them tonight to show up at home. If Cade Cunningham is out, they're the better team. I think they should win this game by double digits easily. If Cade is out, I will be ladder alt spread betting this game for the Timberwolves. I think this gets ugly tonight in Minnesota. I'm trusting that the Timberwolves show up and take care of business. But if Cade Cunningham does not play, Minnesota should win this game in blowout fashion. So I'm taking the Timberwolves minus the 7.5.
I'm laughing internally, Pat, because we are an hour and 10 minutes away from our true best bets of the day, right? I give a Sunday Scarily parlay. We have a D-Gen bet coming up. You, of course, have your Patty's beef bet. I have a 6-legger today, Sunday Scary. All I'm going to say is Pistons Timberwolves is one of the 6 legs. And I don't believe Pat Boyle is going to be placing my Sunday Scary bet today. That is where I will leave that one. Now, look, we're going to get to the NBA postseason. We are going to obviously have you covered each and every weekend on this show in the NBA postseason. Excited to get there. I think it is going to be a wild Western Conference postseason. Can't necessarily say the same for the East. I think we're inevitably going to get to a Cavaliers and Celtics Eastern Conference final anyway. It feels a little bit chalky, but Pat, little temperature check right now as well. You are, one of the biggest Knicks representatives here on the BetMGM network, playing the Blazers tonight, 8-point spread. Knicks have just really not been the same, clearly, since Jalen Brunson had gotten hurt. Your thoughts, Knicks and Blazers tonight with an 8-point spread?
Yeah, I might have a bet on this or two by the end of the show. I wish we got more clarity on whether or not Anthony Simons is going to play for Portland. He's questionable, forearm soreness, played in their last game against Sacramento. So I don't know, unless they're just ruling him out here. Maybe Portland has said, you know what, we've been a scrappy team lately, but we're not making the play-in tournament. There's 8 games to go. And they're back by 4 games. So maybe we should just take the last 2 weeks now to tank. But they've been a scrappy bunch. So, I can't imagine I wouldn't be surprised if Portland shows up and they're leading at the half. That's kind of been the Knicks' MO, where they kind of get out of the gate a little bit slow here and sluggishly. And, again, like you said, Jalen Brunson's still out with the sprained ankle. No Deuce McBride, no campaign. They got DeLon Wright now playing some big-time minutes. DeLon Wright. That being said, OG Anunoby's been brilliant. Finally, I think we could take Mikal Bridges' face off of a milk carton because he's actually stepped up since Brunson has gone down. Hopefully that continues when Brunson comes back. But I still think the Knicks are deep enough that if you don't get a 100% motivated Portland team here on the road tonight, the Knicks will win this game in blowout fashion. But, in terms of heat check going into the postseason, I still think the Knicks are in the same spot that they were in 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, and that is they will probably grind their way playing their brand of basketball. Defense, the defense hasn't been that good this year, but the offensive rebounds, playing gritty, and just getting by enough with Brunson and Cat in their first round matchup, whoever they do play. but then they're probably going to get swept aside in 5 or 6 games at most by Boston in the second round. I think nothing has changed unless we get a catastrophic Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis injury here in the next 2 weeks of the season. The next year is most likely coming to a flattening end in the second round. I'm a diehard fan. You know, I'm going to believe. I'm going to try to put my brain aside and root with my heart. But the Knicks are just not in the same class as Boston and Cleveland. They've showed it all regular season. And with Brunson, again, I'd like to say maybe him being fresh coming back for the postseason will help them. I still don't know how bad this sprained ankle is. They're kind of being ho-hum. He's going to be reevaluated another couple games, but don't worry, he'll be good to go for the postseason. That might be true, but the Knicks have proven they can't stay healthy in the postseason. And this year, even when healthy, they can't sniff the Cavaliers or the Celtics. So I don't see anything changing in that regard.
Yeah, and the Knicks, I hate to say it, Pat, if you were going up and down when these playoffs are firmly set, East and West, boy, they have all the smells of a team that is, of all the 8 higher seeds, the top 4s, gets upset in the first round before we even get a chance to get to the Celtics. If they were not playing in New York and we were not close to that, we might be all over that. Doesn't pass the sniff test to me. Doesn't pass the sniff test to me. All right, speaking of sniffing, home runs. There were 9 of them hit by the New York Yankees yesterday, 3 on the first pitch. Will any of us take a New York Yankee today in the segment Dingbat? Yes, if you're new to the show, myself, Pat, new to the show, Brandon will be in there. Dan Turner will be in there. We're going to give our best home run plays of the day. We're each taking 3. And if somebody goes 0 for 3 and is a dead right loser, only one of us, next week's Dingbat for the segment. We'll explain more when we come back and give you some home run plays. It's BetMGM Network's Sunday's Bets, your baseball home run plays. You're out of here. They're going to fly out of here. They're next.
Sunday's Bets will be right back only on the BetMGM Network. Head over to the BetMGM app now. Please gamble responsibly. Get your bets in and your bankroll up. This is Sunday's Bets with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle, only on the BetMGM Network.
Sunday's Bets on the BetMGM Network. We have reached one of my favorite points of every week, that it is back. It's the first weekend of baseball. So from this point forward, on Sunday's Bets, through the end of Sunday's Bets run on Labor Day weekend, we, on this show, myself, Pat Boyle, our producers, Brandon Combs, Dan Turner, we're going to give you our favorite home run plays of the day. We're going to do this in draft form. It's a segment we call Dingbats. So we're each going to take 3 guys to hit home runs. We're going to attach the odds to them, let you know why we're taking these guys to hit home runs, whether it's, pitching matchups, gut feel, weather, whatever that might be, we are going to be all over it. Sometimes you get us going 3 for 3, which is great. You parlayed them, you did awesome. But, I wouldn't highly recommend that. Sometimes, only 1 hits, 2 hits, but they're nice darts to throw at the board. If none hit, if there is only one of us where none hit, and we're 0 for 3 and the others each get somebody, you are that week's dingbat. And that's why you're going to want visually to watch the show each and every week on this segment. Twitch.tv/the BetMGM Network. YouTube, search the BetMGM Network. Brandon, let's kick it to the intro.
Swung on, there it goes. Deep left center. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. But call.
Ball hit deep. Way back. Maxwell at the wall jumps. You can put it, safe. You can put it on the board or what? Anyway, he's coming around. You can put it on the board. Yes.
That is a heck of a call.
I love it. I love it. Good old-fashioned home run calls. We got Dan Turner ready to go with us as well. He's good to go? All right. If he is, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to select the order. Last year we did rock, paper, scissors. Got a little convoluted. I'm going to select the order of the draft every week, but I promise the person picking first will not pick first next week. We're going to try to make this fair each and every week. I'm going to go first this week because I said so, okay? Pat Boyle, co-host of the show, you're going to go second because I said so. Brandon Combs, executive producer of the show, is going to go third this week because I said so. Dan Turner, our video producer, is going to go fourth and fifth as a result in a snake draft because I said so. All right? We're each going to end up with 3 guys. Once somebody's off the board, they're off the board. So you right now as an audience, you're going to get 12 darts thrown at the board at home run hitters. Do with that information as you want. And as we start to build a little bit of a resume, we might get to May and go, I'm never betting a home run hitter, Sean Morass tells me, or, man, that Brandon Combs is hot. I tell you, this Dan Turner, he's like the Wizard of Oz. He's got what's going on. Pat Boyle doesn't know anything about football. Why would I listen to him about baseball? You could have any of those thoughts at all. We'll build our resumes starting this week. What's wrong, Pat? You're shaking.
I like how you're just calling the shots, by the way, Sean. Don't let the executive producer pick the order, the guy that sets up the show. Why don't, you and your egghead just go ahead and decide who goes when.
Listen, there's a reason I'm doing that. It's Brandon's first ever dingbat. He wasn't our producer last year, so I'm just trying to get the first one off seamlessly. I don't want to get to 1050 and nobody's picked a home run yet as we try to figure the whole thing out. Once we get through, yeah, what do you got, Brandon?
To be fair, I've been a dingbat my entire life, so.
See, I like that. See, he goes right with the puns. Right with the puns. And maybe if we have a flat-out winner, they get to pick where they select in the draft next week. How about that? All right, I'll start it off because you know what? How about this? I'm not even going to go chalky for you. This is the other beauty of the segment. It's not about how much money you profit hitting the home runs to win. You just got to pick the most runs right because we are, big on forget the value, just pick the winners. Correct? Correct? I think we're correct. So I'm going to give you one here to start it off, okay? How about at plus 420, I go to the Philadelphia Phillies. Yes, the Philadelphia Phillies. And the great Nick Castellanos, okay? And I just had my stupid nuggets on this. Let me hold on.
Good job. Yeah, this is the guy going first. Great job, Sean.
I screwed this up. I had the reasons why. Here it is. All right.
Great radio.
So Nick Castellanos is plus 420 today. He hit 10 of his 23 home runs last year versus left-handed pitching, 269, 506 slugging. He's facing Mitchell Parker of the Nationals. Mitchell Parker gave up a homer to Nick Castellanos a year ago with just 2 at-bats. I'm taking this at plus 420 today, Castellanos. Let's start it off, which, by the way, you hope nothing bad in America happens today if he's homering. Okay, Pat, to you.
Yeah, I'm also going to go to that game. Nats Phillies. I think looking at the weather, is a big factor as well when you're looking at taking guys to hit home runs. Again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of popular Yankees that get thrown in today after their nearly record-setting day yesterday. It's only 50 degrees in the Bronx today. I use Swish Analytics. It says weather is going to be blowing straight in from center field. So that's telling me that that's probably not a smart bet. Now, again, Yankee Stadium's a bandbox, so even then balls can fly. But Phillies, Nats in D.C., 80 degrees, wind blowing out, usually between 10 and 12 miles an hour today. So I'm all over this. I think this is going to be conditions for taters and dingers left and right. And I'm going to another Philly, Sean, but I'm taking Alec Boehm at plus 475 to go deep today. Yeah, give me a Boehm bomb, plus 475. Also hits very well against lefties. Only had 15 bombs last year, but 6 of those 15 came against lefties, so he hit lefties much better. Like you mentioned, Mitchell Parker, I think he is due to serve up a couple today. Maybe Castellanos and Boehm both take him deep, but I'm taking Alec Boehm from the Phillies plus 475 for my first pick.
All right, Brandon Combs.
I like it. I am going to go over to the Royals and the Guardians. I'm going to take Mr. Bobby Witt Jr. at plus 525, facing Tanner Bibby today. Of the Guardian, I almost said the other team name that they used to be, but the Guardians facing Tanner Bibby. Bobby Witt is actually is hitting 308 against Tanner Bibby lifetime in 13 plate appearances. He does have a dinger already against Tanner Bibby, and he's Bobby Witt Jr. So there you go. Bobby Witt plus 525.
That's good odds. That's good odds for a guy who's going to be an MVP consideration. All right, Dan Turner, who doesn't have his camera on, so you're going to get the great Wizard of Oz from the audio. Dan, what's up? You got two in a row, by the way, Dan. 2 in a row.
I do, yes. I do. So for my first pick, I will also go back to the Phillies, as I am the Philly fan of the show. And it may be a little chalky, but I'll go Bryce Harper at plus 333. He's done really well against the Nationals, so struggled to get him out. That's more of a gut feeling pick for me, kind of a homerish pick, but I'll own that. And then for my second pick, I'll take Jackson Holliday of the Orioles. His first 12 plate appearances this year, he's hitting 273 with a 545 slugging percentage. He's facing right-hander Chris Bassett. He's 1 for 2 and hit the one is a home run. So he's hitting 50% home runs on his at-bats versus this pitcher. So I feel pretty good he'll hit another today, and he's at plus 725.
I like it. By the way, so where we're at so far before Brandon continues, 3 Phillies already off the board versus Washington, 3 of these 9 guys that we'll have in the lineup. Something tells me one of us is finding a winner out of that. All right, Brandon, what do you got pick number 2?
All right, so pick number 2, I am also going to go with a homerish type pick because I'm going to go with my Chicago Cubs. And I am going to go back to Kyle Tucker. Hit his first home run as a Cub yesterday. I think he's going to hit his second home run as a Cub today. Plus 525 for Kyle Tucker as well, the same as Bobby Witt Jr. And look, I mean, he's King Tuck, and it's Arizona, and the Cubs are about to take 3 out of 4 from Arizona. Get back to 500. Let's go.
All right, future Yankee Kyle Tucker, who Brandon Combs takes off the board. What do you got, Pat?
Yeah, 2 games in, he doesn't have a home run yet. He's one of the most electrifying players in baseball, plays in a bandbox himself in Cincinnati. Giants, Reds, give me the great Ellie De La Cruz to go deep today for Cincinnati. Again, I'm just relying on the star power here because his numbers, his splits, actually a bit, not in the direction you would want. Now, it's a lefty starter on the mound today for San Francisco, Robbie Ray, the great Robbie Ray, who we know if he's not on, I mean, it's like batting practice. So his season debut, if he's not on, even Ellie, who only hit 6 home runs and had an OPS of 200 points lower against lefties than he was against righties, the switch hitting shortstop. He'll face Robbie Ray to start, but chances are that he might have 3 at-bats today against a right-handed pitcher. So either way, hasn't homered yet in 2 games. I would say that makes Ellie De La Cruz due. He's plus 550 to hit a home run. Ellie De La Cruz to go deep today for the first time this season for the Reds.
All right, I'm going to give you back-to-back ones to wrap it around. How about the first home run as a San Francisco Giant today comes for Willie Adames, who's in Cincinnati, obviously great American ballpark, a bit of a bandbox at times. It's plus 285. Adames, get off the schneid, get his first home run out of this first series here for the San Francisco Giants. And this is more of a gut feel, everything that we've talked about today, DeGrom, Red Sox, Rangers, kind of a fun little series here. We haven't gotten one from Corey Seager yet to start the year, and he's at plus 320 and what's been a decent weekend here for Texas. I think Corey Seager joins the party. That's my final pick of the day. Seager at plus 320 versus the Boston Red Sox. Back to you, Pat.
Yeah, I'm going with another perennial home run hitter that had a slow start to his season for when it 0 for his first 6. Yesterday against the Red Sox, 3 for 3, clubbed his first home run, hit 2 doubles. I think he carries that hot hitting into today against Red Sox starter Richard Fitz. Good old Dick Fitz, as they like to call him in Boston. Does Dick Fitz?
Woo!
I think it will today for Adolis Garcia. Give me Adolis to go deep again today. And I'm just, his price, I think, changed a little bit. Yeah, plus 340. Adolis Garcia, back-to-back days. I think he hits a bomb here. Again, Texas is always good weather for dingers. It's going to be hot again today. Let me see the updated 84 to 88 degrees. And again, Swish Analytics tell me wind's going to be blowing out to dead away center field between 10 and 12 miles an hour. So good conditions for Taters. One of the best home run hitters in baseball. Went deep for the first time yesterday. I think he stays hot. I think he takes Dick Fitz deep. Give me Adolis Garcia plus 340.
All right, Brandon.
All right, I'm going to go quick because we only got about a minute left. I'm going to stick with the Phillies, and I'm going to go with Kyle Schwarber. Hits lefties well. Already has a home run this year against lefty pitching.
We're all over the Phillies today.
2 for 3 with a home run and an RBI in 4 plate appearances versus lefties this year. So Kyle Schwarber.
We all have a Philly today. We all have a Philly. All right, Dan missed the Philly. Close us out.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, I'll take Jazz Chisholm Jr. and his magical bat at plus 500 today. I do agree with Sean that the whole bat controversy is kind of silly, but if he continues to use it, he might as well hit a home run for me. And that's at plus 500.
All right, and that'll do it. So, Brandon, you have those all down. Hopefully you, the listener, jotted them down. Maybe at some point we even start tweeting those out as well to have fun throughout the day. Now, Dan Turner did something I thought we were on the verge of avoiding, and that is this. The Yankees, 9 home runs yesterday, including the first 3 pitches. I'm going to tell you at the top of the next hour, while Dan Turner has already lost one of his home run prop bets. It's BetMGM's Sunday's Bet. Show Morsh and Pat Boyle will continue on next.
Sunday's Bets will be right back only on the BetMGM network. Head over to the BetMGM app now. Please gamble responsibly.
Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell!
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell!
Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over. It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of Wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly.